Hello, ODAC fans, and welcome to the first interview session of something brand new that we're doing here from the Ultimate Athletic Conference, and we hope to bring you many more of these. But this one here is specifically focused toward the Division III SAC mental health social media campaign, and we have an outstanding person to join us here today. My name is J.J. Nuckloff, the Associate Commissioner with the Ultimate Athletic Conference. And when we talk about mental health, there's nobody better and such a great person that we can talk to. Tara Nunley is the Clinical Director of Counseling Services at the University of Lynchburg. Tara, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Tara, talk to us a little bit about who you are and what you do and how you've worked with the ODAC in the past, especially joining on to a webinar earlier this year.
So as JJ said, my name is Tara Nunley, and I'm the Clinical Director of Counseling Services at University of Lynchburg, which just basically means that I work with our students with all of their mental health needs. Specifically with the ODAC, however, I've also done a webinar and a couple of live talks about mental health and more specifically, how can you take care of your mental health on a regular basis. And then also when you're struggling with mental health issues, what are some things you can do outside of simply just talking to a counselor or seeking medication.
Tara, let's go ahead and hop right into this. And we've got a couple questions here to talk about as we work through some of the mental health things that you handle with student athletes. And what are some of the things student athletes should remember when it comes to mental health during times of uncertainty and change?
Yeah, so especially the times that we're in right now, I think the most important thing is to remember that we need to stay grounded and we need to be aware of how we might be feeling mentally. A lot of us are experiencing anxiety or depression for the first time, and so it's kind of new, and you might not even really notice it within yourself. So I think first and foremost right now, it's important for student athletes to take an inventory of their mental health toolbox and see what tools and coping strategies they might have to help with their mental health. Additionally, it's important for student athletes to recognize that things have changed and they've changed fairly quickly. And it is important that they stay connected with each other as well during this time.
What are some ways athletes can take care of their mental health during the pandemic and after?
So my answer to this would probably be the same during and after the pandemic, because I think mental health is ongoing. And of course, different situations cause us to have different reactions. But what I would first say is to take an inventory of how you're eating, how you're sleeping, and also how well you're exercising. Your exercise used to be regimented by your coach, but now maybe you have to modify the off-season workout that you're given. But it's very important that you are eating healthy and nutritious meals, that you are sleeping not too much and not too little, somewhere between 6 and 8 hours, and that you are taking time to exercise, not just for your physical health, but for your mental health. Additionally, setting some healthy boundaries with people. It's okay to say no, that you can't be all things for everybody all the time. Limiting how much you're watching the news during this time. I think it's important to stay informed, but it can also affect your mental health if you are focused on it all the time and you're hearing all the different messages. And all of our ODAC athletes are in different states, and your states have different levels of restrictions from maybe some of your friends. And so it's really important that you're kind of balancing how much you are watching social media and how much you're watching the news, and step away from time to time is very important.
Well, that's important for all of us. I step away from time to time just because it needs to happen.
Right. And make sure you're getting sunlight. I think some of us are afraid to get outside. The sunlight is so important for your well-being and for your mental health, for the vitamin D as well as the serotonin. And so it's very important that you are taking the time to give yourself breaks and to get out and to do that. Again, I mentioned earlier about staying connected with your friends and your teammates and your family. We are all disconnected during this time in many of our normal ways of interacting. And so it's really important that we are staying connected as well as we possibly can. It's also a good opportunity to maybe reach out to some people you haven't talked to in a while, just to connect, just to have, I keep using the word connect, but have that connection with people.
You mentioned a mental health toolbox earlier. What mental health tools do you feel are most important to have?
So when I refer to a mental health toolbox, it's what we go to. So if you picture a real toolbox, you go to your toolbox to get the tool to fix the problem. And so what's important is that you know what your go-tos are in the toolbox, so that you're not when things start to go wrong, you're not jumping right into kind of the coping strategies that have negative effects, over drinking too much, yelling at people you shouldn't be yelling at, et cetera, et cetera. But the most important tool in your mental health toolbox is mindfulness. And this is going to help you in your field of play as well. So this is a great time to learn about mindfulness, to learn about how to become grounded. One way of doing this, for instance, this just means you're being present focused, you're living in the here and now. You're not in the future, you're not in the past, you're right here, you're right now, and you're focused. And we have to teach ourselves to do this, because if you notice throughout the day, your mind's going to go in 100 different directions. And learning how to bring yourself back and bring yourself into the present is going to help you as an athlete, but it's also going to help you as a person. And one way that we do that is through grounding. And that's just using your 5 senses. You notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste, and it can be in any of those orders. You could do 5 things you can feel, but you basically identify things in the here and now, and it grounds you. It's called grounding. So that would be the most important tool at this time that I would say.
What are some resources student athletes can use if they need some mental health support during this time?
Mm-hmm. So you can always reach out to your counseling center. I've spoken with almost all the directors in the ODAC at this point, and everyone has something, even if it's just a consultation. But in the meantime, there's also so many apps out there that that can help you either with mindfulness or with your anxiety or depression. Some of those are Headspace, Calm, Happify, Mindshift, 10% Happier. There are numerous ones. But what I would say is at this time, just make sure you're reaching out and you are seeking help somewhere. Whether you're just talking to a trusted friend or you're getting online and you're doing a self-help tool. And certainly if at any time you're feeling suicidal, you're feeling you can't keep yourself safe, or you feel like you might hurt somebody else, call 911 or call the National Suicide Hotline. And yeah, I think that's what you should be doing.
Well, Tara, I think these are all great points, and especially poignant now with all of us just dealing with something that nobody's ever dealt with before. So I think it's important to remember all that stuff.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, Tara, I thank you for joining us today and for kicking off this new interview series for us and being our guinea pig, if you will. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Okay, thank you very much.
As we go ahead and take a look to the future for this, you don't have to wait very long, as we'll have our second interview of this series and continue on NCAA Division III SAC Mental Health Week with a social media campaign. Even though it's supposed to end today on May 7th, we're going to continue it for another day and talk with Madison Burns, formerly of Randolph-Macon College. She was the Division III SAC chair for the past year, and she's been a member of that committee for 3 years, as now she's graduated from Randolph-Macon and moving on, but still she was largely involved in putting together this social media campaign. So thank you very much for joining us, and stay tuned to the next show coming up.